welcome to the Southern Business Network, East Alabama's premier TV show, highlighting small businesses, entrepreneurs, civic and social organizations right here within our community. And of course, when we speak about our community, we're talking none other than the areas of Sport Mitchell, Ladonia, Smith Station, Seal, Salem. The list goes on, and of course, our beloved Phoenix City, Alabama. I have a very dear friend with me today. I've got Mrs. Jacinta Ingersoll Devoes, Regional Vice President of Primerica, right here, right at the Southern Business Network. Jacinta, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So, Jacinta, we go ways back. We don't have to get all into that part of the show, but it's a good thing. Yeah. Very good thing. Jacinta was my trainer many years ago, and she has taken off in this wonderful organization of Primerica. Met her not long after I came to this beloved community, and happy to see that you are still flourishing with the business of Primerica. So for those of our viewership who don't know what Primerica is, what you do in terms of your operations to the community, kind of give them a little explanation about what you do.
Sure. Well, Primerica is really a twofold business. We are our number one heart is to help people get in business for themselves. So we're in the business of putting people in business. And those that have an affinity for the financial services arena, people that really have a heart to want to serve people, those are kind of folks we're looking for to help them establish offices. One of the other things that we do as kind of a byproduct of that is financial coaching. So we work with families to help them create a financial plan that's going to get them to a point of being free at some point, and you know, not to have to worry about making decisions based on what's in the checkbook all the time. But you know, really having a plan that helps them feel like they don't have to be stuck where they are financially.
So when we talk about freedom, financial freedom, everyone is on this tirade of wanting to be financially free. What does that include?
Well, you know, financial freedom, I think, really varies based on the person. Ultimately, what it is I have enough money set aside that my money works for me, and that's the only thing that has to work for me. You see, you know, being in a position, again, as we spoke about, being able to make decisions not based on what's in your checkbook. I think freedom for a lot of people can be just freedom of time. So I'm not tied to my job. I can work when I want to work and not have to worry about whether the bills are paid. You know, freedom from debt, just not having to owe somebody money and go to sleep with that weight on your shoulder. Absolutely. So there's many, I think, levels of freedom for each family, and but it's as big as you can imagine. That's the awesome thing. And one thing I always encourage people to do is not ever stop dreaming about what it feels like to be free, because it actually is a real possibility. It's a lot easier than you think.
I'm just, you know, again, just driven by your passion for what you do. And again, I know you personally, so I know when you talk about this thing about financial freedom, you really mean it.
Absolutely.
And you drive into those that are connected with you as well.
Absolutely.
You've built teams and awesome teams, as a matter of fact. So let's talk a little bit about the product line as it relates to Primerica. Kind of explain to the viewership what that's all about.
Well, we have a range of products. Basically, anything that somebody needs to do financially, we can help them with that. So building a financial plan is much like building a house. You really want to start with a good foundation. And the foundation for a financial plan is always life insurance. It's making sure that I have enough money set aside so that if something were to happen to a breadwinner, the whole household isn't disrupted like most people do. Unfortunately, we kind of see too many GoFundMes and you know, things like that where it's unnecessary. So we want to first build the foundation, which is really with life insurance, and then the next step from that would be to begin to start doing things like saving for emergency funds, so we can help families do that as well. We take another step further in helping them eliminate debt. So we have programs that teach them how to get out of debt a whole lot faster, much faster than you would think. And then beyond that, we look for long-term investing. So we can do things like retirement planning, college planning for the kids, and basically any type of investments that need to be done. We also work with companies to do things like long-term care. We have prepaid legal legal programs. We have auto insurance, home insurance. So we're kind of like the
one-stop shop.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Anything that you need to do financially, we can do that.
That's huge. You touched on life insurance, and I know that that's in certain communities.
Right.
That is a very touchy subject.
Right.
And it's really interesting this day and age to find out the number of persons who are not insured properly.
Correct.
So when we talk about life insurance, whole life versus term, what's the best in your opinion?
Yeah, well, that is always a touchy subject for many people because the life insurance industry itself has really pushed one particular product, and that is whole life insurance. It's an insurance that has some type of savings component tied to it. So it could come in the form of a grow-up plan for college. It could come, there's a lot of names for it, but anytime an insurance has a savings program, that's some form of whole life. We really believe that term insurance is the better product. And the reason for that is it's just insurance. So one thing that does is it makes it a lot cheaper, and we can afford to get the kind of coverage that we need. Unfortunately, even the families that are insured are very underinsured.
Okay.
So they have maybe 10 or 15,000 or 20,000. If you're really good, you've got 25,000. And that may be enough to handle burial expenses, but beyond that, how do you keep putting food on the table?
That's right.
So it's important to get, anywhere from really 10 to 20 times what your annual salary is. That's about the ballpark that you want to be in when you buy life insurance. And term insurance makes that very affordable. At the same token, you want to be able to still save some money, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, saving it inside of a life insurance policy just really isn't always the best way to go. The investment options are very limited, and then how you draw the money out is also very limited as well. So we always encourage people, don't use insurance for a savings vehicle. You get that one for free.
Hey, good nugget right there.
So
Okay.
don't do that. It'll really, it's just a very expensive way to buy life insurance, and it's a bad way to save money.
Gotcha.
So the best thing to do is to separate the two.
Separate the two. Interesting. Now, you've said a lot in terms of the product line, and I know in this day and age, we're about to start the new fiscal year. People are beginning to plan for 2018.
Right.
Stocks, investment portfolios, and so forth.
Right.
You're involved in that.
Correct.
Interesting. So if there were a hot commodity out on the market, I could come to you for advice.
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, do you have to be certified to do what you do?
Yes, very well.
Okay.
Our industry is very, very highly regulated, so I am securities licensed so that I can help. I particularly focus in the area of mutual funds, and we offer mutual funds, we offer managed accounts, we offer annuities. We don't really focus on individual stocks with our particular organization, and the reason for that is our market is middle America. It's the everyday average one of us. And what we find is that for the average person to get invested in the market, mutual funds are really the best avenue to get involved. Meaning, because you don't have to have a ton of money to begin a mutual fund. And then it's diverse in itself. So rather than those of us who may not have a whole lot of money to start investing, rather than putting all on one stock, where we really don't know where any one company is going to do, we can be more diverse and that way grow our money a little bit faster.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because I think for so long in the investment game, and I remember when I was in college, my great-grandmother, God rest her soul, passed and was of that old school of savings. And this is a lady that had very humble beginnings, but she was strategic in her savings plans that she was able to have enough money at her death to give not only to her grandchildren, my mother, my two aunts, her son, my grandfather, and my grandmother, but she was able to give money down to the other generation, that third generation of us, her great-grands.
That's awesome.
But this is where it comes in and gets a little interesting. I can remember I went to a bank, and I think I had about maybe $3,000. This was maybe my sophomore year in college. And my mind was set on, I want to invest in something. Went to the banker, And the banker basically told me, you don't have enough money to invest.
Right.
So, you know what I did with that money, right?
I can imagine.
Sophomore in college, you know, hey, here's a beer run, you know, and continue. And the next thing I know, that money's gone.
Right.
And I just look back on that day and I wonder, my goodness, if I had done a sound investment at that time.
Yeah. Here's a rule of thumb. Unfortunately, most investment companies, banks, things like that, they really want to target the bigger money. And Primerica, one of the things that makes me so passionate about the company itself is that they're here for the everyday average one of us. You don't have to be wealthy already to learn how to become wealthy.
Exactly.
And for most other companies in the financial services arena, honestly, that's how they work. They're looking for people who have money already. And when I say money, I mean high six figures,
exactly.
you know, before they'll really take good care of you. And so, yeah, that for us, we'll start investing with someone for as little as $25 a month.
Stop it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
$25 a month.
Right.
Into a mutual fund.
And that starts the wheels turning, you know, and so most people don't even realize how inexpensive it is to start. I mean, you can blow $25 just going to McDonald's these days.
Exactly.
You know, but imagine that. And here's another interesting kind of statistic for you. How many of us blow $50 in a week and don't have anything to show for it?
Oh, hey, you're one of them. I'm one of them right here. Yeah,
right.
There you go.
Most people do. One of the things they never told us is $50 a week, if all you did was invest that over the course of, say, your working life, let's say from age 30 to age 65, if that was the only thing that somebody told you to do financially, and you earned an average of 12% on that money, you'd have $1.3 million by the time you retire.
Wow.
It blows me away every time I think about it and every time I tell someone that, because it's really unfortunate that nobody tells us this when we get out of high school. Exactly. You know, when we get our first job, that $50 a week puts us in a position of being financially free at some point in our life. How many people do you know that retire with $1.3 million?
Not anybody in my neighborhood will tell you.
Right. But how many of us have $50 that we blow?
And we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's never a question of whether we can be wealthy. It's just a matter of, do we have a plan in place?
That's right.
To
now,
make it happen.
you know, you educated me on this many years ago, and that kind of sounds like the rule of compound interest.
Absolutely.
Rule of 72.
Rule of 72.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. I learned a little something.
Good job.
Yes, I learned from the best.
Right.
So that's good stuff. I mean, because our viewership needs to know, and I think a lot of people have in their minds, especially as it relates to investing.
Right.
And information is power. Knowledge is power.
Right.
And if you don't know who to turn to,
absolutely,
then you're pretty much just kind of out there like a, you know, in the wind, just having no direction.
Absolutely.
But individuals can come to you.
Yes.
And gain more information about your products and services.
Right. We're unique in this industry, in that, you know, we're financial companies like banks. They're taught investing from a banking standpoint, which is a little bit different, because here again, there's a certain amount of money you got to have in order to get invested and things like that. But we kind of take a different perspective, because we have so many avenues in our reach to be able to help somebody reach financial independence. Then we are not pigeonholed into, oh, this is the product we have, so this is what we need to sell. Gotcha. We really can take a broad look and say, okay, you know, in this particular situation, you'll want to start, you know, these types of mutual funds. You know, in this particular situation, you'll need to maybe start with some annuities. And so we have a really broad range of things, but the most important thing is the education behind it. And I think that's where Primerica really separates itself and prides itself on, is educating families first, because I can tell you numerous times that Rule of 72 you mentioned.
Yeah.
How many times have I sat in front of someone who never heard that rule?
Oh, yeah.
You know, 99% of the people don't. But how long have you been dealing with money?
Yeah.
401k plans, checking accounts, savings accounts. If we've been dealing with money all this time and nobody told us that number one fundamental rule, which is how interest rates affect our money.
That's right.
Then we're missing the boat somewhere. And unfortunately, when it comes to our money, what we don't know will cost us.
That's right. That's right. And unfortunately, as you stated, the best lessons learned tend to hit us in our pockets.
Yes.
And that's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. My God, I don't even want to stop and think about it. But you're right. That's ultimately how that happens.
Right.
Well, you talked about the business as twofold.
Correct.
One, you have the financial services portion of what you do.
Right.
Tell our viewership, if they were interested in actually being involved in the business, what they would actually have to do to get involved.
Yeah, well, the awesome thing about Primerica is that you are in business for yourself, but you're not really by yourself. Primerica is actually the largest financial services marketing organization in North America. So there's nobody bigger than us. We really have a huge backing by our home office who helps do all of the back office stuff to run a business. So I always say, honestly, as a business owner, if I were looking at different business models, this would definitely be something that I would gravitate towards because there's little risk and very little money that you have to invest in order to become licensed in this industry. Primerica is so focused on growth right now that they're willing to actually even pay for people to get securities license, for you to get life insurance license. And so that's a huge deal in this arena. Most people have to foot the bill for those things themselves. So it's pretty easy to do that. We have a ton of classes available. I do training myself at least on once a week to help people get their businesses off and running. So, you know, there's a different type of person out there. I was in corporate America, of course, before I started with Primerica, and so I know the difference between both. Oh yeah. You know, I know what it feels like to clock in and out every day, and there's some of us that just have that bug, you know, that just says there's something more for you than where you're at right now. And it's, you know, it's not necessarily for me to sit behind someone's desk every day. But again, just having a passion for people and really crusaders. You don't even have to be a big money person. We can teach you those things. I always say, you know, we can teach skill. What I can't teach is heart. And so what we're looking for really are people who have a heart to want to help folks, who believe in righting the wrongs, and we'll train you on how to do everything else.
Exactly. So Jacinta, before we let you go, if someone in our viewership is interested in getting more information or maybe even getting an appointment with you, how will they reach you?
All this media stuff, of course, there's 50 ways to to reach somebody. But you can go to www.primerica.com.
Spell that, please.
Primerica. It is Primerica, not Prime America. So Primerica.com/J. Ingersoll Devoes. That's JINGERSOLL DEVOES. I know that's a mouthful.
But hey, I'm glad you gave it up. That's what we had to have that for. Absolutely.
Right.
Anything else that we may have omitted in these few moments together that you'd like to expound upon about what you do?
I think that we've kind of covered everything. I just would want to stress the opportunity at this point in an economic climate that we're in today. I think it is critical that people just take an opportunity to get some direction. You know, we don't have to be all closed-minded and keep everything so close to our vest, because that is what costs us money. And it's not only costing us money, it's costing us generationally. Our families, our children, our children's children are missing out on wealth just by not getting a little bit of direction, you know. And so I would just encourage people to dig deeper. Don't go according to what your mama and them said and what, you know, so-and-so said. Find out for yourself, get some information, explore the opportunity, and, you know, you'll be surprised at how that'll change the complete face of your family's finances.
That is wonderful. Well, you heard it here first. Regional Vice President Mrs. Jacinta Ingersoll Devoes, personal friend of mine. She is making moves in Primerica. She's here for you folks. If you need some direction with your financial picture, and I'll be getting back with you with mine, definitely get in contact with her. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
This has been a great opportunity right here at the Southern Business Network. And if you would like to have your business, your company, your social and civic organization right here on this show, reach out to me, Eric Fowler, your host, 706-718-9752, or you can reach me by email at Fowler_Enterprises@yahoo.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have you right here at CTV Beam. Jacinta, as always,
it was
it's
a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you again on the next episode of the Southern Business Network. You all take care.